Hi, I'm going to read Chapter 9 in Treasure of Pelican Cove. Tailing a Dog. "Hey," Jimmy squeaked. "You stuck me." "Well, be still," Elizabeth Ann said. She blew her hair out of her eyes and got ready to try again. Jimmy wriggled away. "Let me try," Granny said. She took the tiny bit of metal gently. "Stand still, Jimmy. Where would be the safest place to put this?" Hiram was securing the other bug to Blackie's collar. He looked up. "Make sure it won't get wet. I've got to return these in good shape." "In the pocket?" Granny asked. "Fine," Hiram replied. Granny pinned the bug inside Jimmy's pocket and zipped the pocket. "Jimmy," she said, "you keep that pocket zipped, okay?" Jimmy nodded. "Can we go yet?" Granny checked his pocket. "I guess so." They all went to the porch to watch Jimmy and Blackie head down the path to the beach. Blackie trotted ahead eagerly, glad to be free again. Jimmy followed. Every few steps he hunched his shoulder up to his head. "What's he doing?" Elizabeth Ann asked. "What's he doing?" Paul began to laugh. "He's trying to talk into the bug. If he keeps this up, he'll be thrown off the beach." Even Granny chuckled as Jimmy's odd movements. "Well, I guess we'd better go see what he's saying," she said. They gathered around the receiver Hiram had set up in the living room. Hiram adjusted the dials. Jimmy's voice was coming in clearly. "We're turning down the beach," he whispered hoarsely. "We just passed Talmadge Duncan's plot." Suddenly, Jimmy switched back to his normal voice. "Hi, Talmadge. What you found?" "Hey, Jimmy," Talmadge replied. "Got chiggers, huh?" "Chiggers?" Jimmy sounded puzzled. "Yeah, I saw you trying to rub your shoulder with your head. Funniest way to scratch I've ever seen. Won't do any good anyhow. Those little bugs burrow in and you just can't get rid of them." "Oh, try kerosene. Worked for me." "Thanks, Talmadge," Jimmy said. "I gotta go. Blackie's getting ahead of me." There was silence in the living room. Elizabeth Ann began to giggle. "Chiggers," she gasped. "Chiggers." Granny chuckled. "Well, maybe that'll account for some unusual movements. Maybe." Jimmy's voice cut into laughter. Blackie, wait up!" Hiram hastily turned the volume down. "I can see this is going to be a long day," he said. "Pull up a chair." They settled down with drinks and cookies. Elizabeth Ann had been given the job of writing down Jimmy's remarks, trying to keep a straight face. She wrote in the first ones. "Are you sure she has to write down everything?" Granny asked. "Sometimes mysteries are solved by one overlooked clue," Hiram replied. "Sometimes it is something that has been overlooked for years. In this case, for a great many years." He and Paul spread out a map on the coffee table. Paul's job was to track Blackie's movements by marking the places on the map. He made the beginning mark at the beach path. He thought about where Talmadge Plot was. He made a careful mark. Then he connected the two dots. Jimmy's comments into the bug dwindled as he began to have fun. Still, his chatter to Blackie kept them informed about what was going on. The two investigated a crab and then let it go. They checked out the tide pools left by the receding water. Then they climbed out on the rocks down by the restaurant. The room was suddenly filled with the angry squawks of pelicans. Granny sat bolt upright. He's playing on those rocks again. One slip and he'll fall. Elizabeth Ann and Paul looked at each other, wide-eyed. Jimmy had been warned not to play on the breakwater, but Blackie was chasing pelicans, and Jimmy was chasing Blackie. He had forgotten all about the rules. He forgot, Granny, Elizabeth Ann said. He wouldn't disobey. He won't forget for long, Granny said. She marched to the phone and dialed the restaurant's number. The children could hear part of a conversation with Charlie, the manager. A few minutes later, a big voice boomed into the receiver. Hey, Jimmy, your granny said to get off those rocks. Yes, sir, came the startled reply. A few minutes later, Jimmy's whisper was back. Sorry, Granny, I forgot. Well, you'd better not forget again, young man, Granny answered. Then she realized that Jimmy couldn't hear her. She threw up her hands. I'm going to get some mending, she said. This thing is driving me out of my mind. The next hour or so was filled with Jimmy's play. Elizabeth Ann and Paul got bored, but Granny and Hiram listened. I'd forgotten what it was like to be a boy, Hiram said. Jimmy is bringing back good memories. I know, Granny said. I've been that length of sand almost every day for 50 years. And for the last 30, I haven't seen half of what Jimmy has seen today. He does wake you up, Hiram agreed. Hey, here's a big shell, Jimmy said loudly. There was silence for a few minutes. Then a roar of booming static burst into the room. They all jumped. A moment later it stopped and Jimmy's voice came back. Did you hear the ocean? Granny rubbed her ears. I think we just listened to the inside of the conch shell and Jimmy's heartbeat. Where is he now? Paul asked. Let's see. He passed the restaurant. He must be near the amusement park now, Hiram answered. Paul made another mark on the map. Blackie's heading in a straight line right down the beach, he said, other than the climb on the rocks. Jimmy isn't making any side trips. This is going to wash out. Maybe, Hiram said. You didn't expect it to work right away, did you? Paul frowned. Well, yes, I did. Relax, Hiram sounded confident. Something may happen yet. I wish it would hurry up, Elizabeth Ann said. She scratched her legs. Jimmy is having all the fun. Hey, why can't we go with him tomorrow? When only Jimmy's with him, Blackie does more wandering, Hiram explained. patiently. "He knows Jimmy will follow." Paul was grinning. "So the dog isn't with Jimmy? Jimmy is with the dog. I thought there must be a reason that Blackie likes Jimmy best." The receivers boomed again, but this time it wasn't Jimmy's voice. "Hey, kid!" Everyone in the room swung around to look at the receiver. "You stay away from Blackie," Jimmy's voice said. "Aw, come on, kid," the other voice said. It had a strange, coaxing tone. "Is that the man who took Blackie?" Paul asked. "Sounds like him," Granny said. "I'm calling the police." "Keep listening, kids," Hiram said. "I'm going down there." "Wait for me," Granny called. She finished speaking and put the phone down. "I'm going too."